So I want to introduce this morning Paul Fernandez. Paul and I go back a little while when he was working for a client of mine as, I can only describe, a frustrated marketeer. I think that would be a good description of Mr. Fernandez. And he took the chance to set up his own business, the Growth Guys, about 15, 18 months ago. We'll explore that in a second. And to be fair, the Growth Guys, as the name suggests, have done exactly what they do for their own business. And it's all about having a digital sales plan. And it's something that businesses think they've got or play at, or maybe they're doing okay. But to explore it, I'm going to do a little sort of podcast type interview within the Yorkshire Sales Sprint of Paul Fernandez from the Growth Guys. So without further ado, Paul, welcome to the Yorkshire Sales Sprint as our first guest of the morning.
Cheers, Nick. Lovely to be here. Hey, everyone.
Nice to see you again. So let's have a look. Digital sales, okay? Black art, potentially. A lot of people nervous about it. A lot of people are not sure in terms of, how to get the best out of it. So we'll start with a very generic question, really. Why is it important for businesses to have a digital arm in 2021?
Yeah, well, it's important because the landscape's changed. And it's changed erratically. And we, essentially we've been, I've been saying to clients of mine as well, where, we've been pushed into this digital era a little bit quicker than where we were going before. And because of that push as well, it's like being pushed by about 5 years. So where we would have been in 5 years' time is where we are now. So obviously the fact that we're doing this today, this morning, the fact that you can work with people all over the world and you don't have to fly and meet people and spend 3 days by the pool in a hotel in Bali while you're doing like a speaker conference or something like that. That would be my dream job, by the way, just FYI.
Hang on. I'm just saying, I thought you were saying it's a good thing, this digital. I quite like 3 days in the pool at Bali, but never mind.
But if you've got a family, I mean, being away from them for 3 days isn't nice. But it's one of those things, it's because of obviously COVID, it sped up the process of pushing people online. But customers are also more informed nowadays. People need a digital touch point as their first port of call to do their research, their due diligence on a company or a product. Even if you can use something like Amazon, which is one touch buy, people still read the reviews and they still look down the page and they still need that digital arm. So it's, it could be even with like something as analog as a phone call, they still need that digital touch point to find your number from a Google My Business page, for instance.
Yeah.
So it's all very relevant, and it's becoming more relevant, and it just needs to be part of your mix now. It can't be, I don't know how to use it, I'm not going to have it. It just needs to be part of it. Otherwise you will fall behind.
Okay, I think it's fair to say the advancements, they do say we've advanced 5 years in less than 18 months in terms of sort of digital capability, customer expectations and that kind of thing. The reality is it's hard to keep up with that unless you're an expert or a specialist, or you work with an expert or a specialist. Does it matter or make any difference if you're B2B or B2C?
I don't think it does at all, really. I don't think it matters if you're B2B or B2C or, even direct to consumer that way. I think the only thing that changes is the gestation period of a sale. So, B2B requires, nurture, it requires patience and a persistence as well to stay top of mind. I mean, the line between sales and marketing. So, I need to put this in here now, is that the line between sales and marketing is almost unrecognizable. Whereas before, maybe 10, 15 years ago, there was a real clear line that was marketing and this is sales. Actually, you need to have both disciplines in your arsenal, because you need to be good at both in order to be effective. Because just to put it into some, as soon as a prospect or consumer has begun thinking about the problem that you solve or have a solution for, you're selling. As soon as they start to think about it, you're selling. So it's, and your digital sales plan needs to, reflect that. For example, I'm a drummer, I have a drum kit. If I need a new skin for my snare drum in order to play my drum kit, my problem is that my snare drum skin is damaged. My pain is that I can't play my drum kit. So my desired outcome is to play my drum kit again. And my first port of call is to go to Google and search for my solution. So once I click search, my buying journey is then begun. and all of a sudden I'll be presented with solutions to my problem, and that'll be in the form of search results or search ads. Some of them search ads, mainly the top 4, and they'll have tailored ad copy to encourage my purchase with them. So coming back around, digital selling starts way, way earlier than people actually think. Okay. And it's kind of like verging into that marketing sort of realm.
I agree with you completely. The blurred lines now are such that you need multidiscipline, don't you, to be and to be an effective sales professional. You do need to understand that marketing mix and the new customer cycle and sales cycle. You do realise it's your next door neighbours who are breaking your snare and your drum kit, by the way, but never mind, we'll move on from that.
I have an electric one now.
So like anything in sales, I'm a massive fan of a plan, okay? Because if you don't have a plan, you don't have anything in terms of, it's just a bit ad hoc and a bit random. So what do you reckon the main strategies that a business should be considering if they're looking at a digital sales plan, particularly if they're new to it? Don't use any lingo or terminology, because we don't know what level of the experience is of the people on the call, but what kind of things should we be thinking about, even just to start with?
I think the first thing is just going right to the beginning and sort of creating a canvas of value. So, what is your ideal customer? What do they look like? Who are they? Where are they? Where are they located? What are the pains that ideal customer are experiencing, and how does that relate to the outcome that you're wanting to present? To eradicate that pain. And also it's the in between as well. It's like, what are the obstacles? What challenges are they going to come across when you're from their pain to their prize? Almost like you need to identify the potential obstacles so that you can overcome them when it comes to objection handling or anything. Locating your ideal customer as well, in terms of where are they, like from a social platform, even geographically, and that'll dictate your messaging. We get spam messages all the time, and I think we'll end up coming onto this, but people from America saying that they can help my agency, help my company. Is that actually you can't, because you can't speak to UK people like I can. And it's that becomes really relevant. But as well, it's content, content, especially for B2B. It's one of those. I think you told you said this to me, Nick. It's like, have you ever had someone come up to you and say, "I didn't know you did that"? It's like with content, I personally like to follow what's called a 7-4-11 rule. So, which basically gives you enough consumable rabbit hole type content for your prospects to binge on. So it's basically 7 hours of content across 4 locations with at least 11 touch points. So 7 hours, obviously that's time consumable. That can be blogs, reading time, watch time, phone call time, anything. 4 locations: phone, social media, website, email. That could be like that. And 11 touch points. So a couple of emails back and forth, a phone call, they read a couple of blogs, watch a video, that kind of thing. Okay. And that just then gets them, it's almost giving them that sort of magic touch point, in the fact that they get to know me a little bit more then, and they feel like they know me before we start the actual process of closing the deal.
Okay. Well, I am a massive fan of eradicating that phrase, "I didn't know you did that." And I work with lots of organizations who their salespeople swear blind that their customers know what they do. And yet evidence month in, month out, week in, week out, you say, "Oh, I didn't know you did that." So it is about content. It is about pushing the message. It's about repetition as well, I guess. What percentage of businesses that you come across, particularly SME businesses, do you think have got an effective digital sales plan or strategy right now in 2021 then, Paul? Is it a big number, a small number? Is it, needs work? What is it?
Well, the good word, like the word I'm going to pick out that one is effective. So like people that actually have an effective sales plan, and that I would probably go as far as, it's a hard one to pick out, but I'd probably go as far as saying half. It's almost as 50% of people that, that they have an effective sales plan, which is really, really good. It's just the end game. It's like actually getting them over the line. They have an effective plan, and that's really good, because you always plan to fail. It's always that kind of thing, piss poor planning and all that. But having an effective plan is one thing. Executing on it is another.
Okay. So we talked before the session about the phrase inbound, and you use that a lot when we talk about digital sales plan. Do you want to explain what inbound means in terms of terminology for our audience this morning?
Yeah, so inbound is essentially when inquiries or sales come to you, and that could be from a phone call or a web form submission. People have found you online, or people have found your phone number, probably from an online source. Not many people use the yellow pages nowadays or anything like that. So it's just essentially the format of inquiries coming to you via your website or phone call, really.
Okay, I had a clear out yesterday of a drawer, and I found a Yellow Pages and a Thompson's local directory.
Thompson's.
Yeah, so I recycled both of those on the basis that A, I didn't know they were there, and B, that means I've never ever used them. So yeah, that the world has moved on significantly since then, hasn't it? Really. So
They are effective door wedges, though.
they are. They're pretty good. They're pretty well. They're not as hefty as they used to be fair. So looking at inbound, then, if a business was going to start a digital sales strategy or plan from scratch, what advice would you give them to include in their inbound sales strategy? What things should they be thinking about to generate that inbound traffic?
Yeah, so this is like a chicken and egg situation, really. But I mean, if I was going to lay it out as a roadmap, using Bojo's terminology there, but I think first things first is creating a usable and effective website. It doesn't have to be all singing, all dancing, have to have animation, video, it doesn't have to have all that. It just needs to make sure that the value proposition is clearly laid out. And within the first, what we call a fold of a website, i.e. if you're on mobile, the first scroll, before you scroll, it needs to be there. And that there are calls to action as well, and it loads quickly. So value proposition, calls to action, and it loading quickly. So just to give you an idea, the benchmark of loading quickly now is less than 2 seconds.
Is that because people have got the patience of a goldfish because of things like TikTok? I think TikTok's 15 seconds. And somebody said to me about 5 or 6 years ago, if you can take one click out of your sales process on a digital platform, you will increase your sales conversion by 30%. Like it takes so much effort to put one extra click through on your thumb. But the reality is everything's much more instant, and 2 seconds or 3 seconds makes a difference to people's, I guess, perception of whether they're going to continue waiting. Is that right?
Yeah, it's like it's the digital version of a queue. It's like waiting in queue to see somebody, or like you're at H&M going to buy some clothes and you're in the queue. If it's taking ages to see, and they've only got one person on, but there's like 50 people in the line, you're going to get pretty pissed off, aren't you?
Yeah.
And it's that whole thing. If it's taking you ages, and by ages in digital, obviously we're talking 4 or 5 seconds here, people are just going to lose interest and go, well, they clearly don't know what they're doing, or maybe on a subconscious level they're thinking that. But 2 seconds is the absolute max it can be now, really, without you potentially losing consumers. So
okay, what I would say, Paul, is tell that to the people who queued at Primark who don't have an online presence the day that non-essential shops, apparently they were round the block queuing to get their sort of t-shirts that would have lasted less than sort of August by the time they fall apart and things. But people, we're British, we quite like a queue, but I guess 2 to 4 seconds is a lifetime in digital. So we need to be aware of that. I quite like that first fold. I've never heard that phrase before. That's so that on a phone, it's literally the first thing you see before I press my thumb and scroll anywhere. If I don't get it, I'm not going to scroll then, am I?
No, exactly. And it's making sure that phones come in all different shapes and sizes. Obviously iPhones they're getting smaller again, but you've got these massive tablets. Thinking of tablet, thinking of desktop. You need to make sure that your website is adaptable as well for mobile view first, really, than desktop, because more people view your website on a mobile probably at first port of call anyway than on desktop. So after the website, the second thing I would go on to say is that make sure it's tagged to Google Console. Not many people actually do this.
Talk us through what does that even mean then for those who are not sure what Google Console is and tagging?
So so on your website you have what's called a sitemap, which is basically a a map of everything that your website contains, i.e. the pages, the links, everything. You then need to upload that or attach it to what's called Google Console. If you don't attach it to that, I mean, it takes 2 seconds, to be honest. It's pretty easy to do. But as soon as you've done that, Google knows you exist. And it will track your website, and it will, rank you higher in SEO. Want more people come to you, and the more keywords you rank for. You don't attach it to Google Console, you don't exist. Okay. And that it's as simple as that. And then the final thing I would probably say, well, next thing, I think there's 2 more, but start writing content. Content is free. You can generate a really lucrative pipeline just from content marketing alone. There's a great book actually I read last year, and it's called They Ask You Answer, by an American guy. He used to be like a pool sales guy, and he started writing blogs, and it basically just lays out a strategy in which you can make sure that you're addressing the questions that your target customers are asking. So it's what was like a frequently asked questions page, you can be putting that into blog writing, and it makes you rank higher. It makes you look like, person of influence and all that kind of stuff. And there's a really good website called answerthepublic.com. So you get 2 free searches a day, so you don't have to pay for it. And you literally just type in a few keywords relating to your business, and it will just show you all of the questions that people are asking on Google about that specific topic. And you can then just take those questions and write a blog about it. And you're writing a blog, relating to that particular question, you're then going to come up in the search engines for that particular phrase.
Well, we had Diane Ben from on a previous Yorkshire Sales Sprint, and she was talking about having a content strategy and having a calendar and all that kind of thing that goes out with that, and that's worth a look if you weren't on that one. It's on the videos on YouTube, and she was saying that the basis of a blog can create so much content. It can create a frequently asked questions. It can create a video blog, a vlog as people call them. It can create all sorts of stuff. So get used to writing, get used to, thinking about how transferable is this content, how reusable is this content. On that basis, if you don't write content, your competition will be, and you'll rank even lower anyway. I'm just conscious of time a little bit, Paul. We've got questions coming through at the end, which is fine. We'll answer those questions later. Touching on digital outbound, there seems to be like a huge tranche of spammy, automated, robot-driven selling. Particularly, I'm a LinkedIn guy. I'm not really on other platforms. Particularly, LinkedIn's full of people who are promising me the earth, so I do coaching and training, and they're going to make me a multi-squillionaire because that's what they do, and it's automated, and it's spammy, and it's hideous. How can you execute an online sales strategy that's effective without people thinking you're one of them?
Yeah, I agree with you as well. Automated pitching is just not good.
It's too early, isn't it? It's too early. It's not even, they're not even building a relationship. They're not even understanding the business. I get people, given what I do for a living, which is, sales development and business development and growth, etc. People are saying to me, I can help you with some strategies to grow your business. It's like, well, that's kind of what I do for other clients. Look at the profile, but it's just an automated robot, isn't it? So what can we do to not be sort of seen as them, really?
Well, yeah, I mean, even like since the inception of sort of automation within marketing, that there are more and more people that are taking it to the extreme, and they're not using it effectively or intelligently. Because if you can use automation, you can create a semi-automated approach for a digital sales plan. If you can do that, then you're onto a winner. I think a strategy that I really like to use when reaching out to potential clients is using LinkedIn Sales Navigator to identify the people that I want to be connecting with within my target audience. And then I use automation to just initially connect with them, and my messaging is quite transparent as well. For example, it'll be just, hi, first name. I'm looking to connect with people like you within the industry. Yeah. Once connected, personalization then should just take over. And, I take 2 minutes to look over their content, see if there's anything I can engage with. Once I've done that, I'll find their email from somewhere and add it to a prospecting list. I'll then send an e-shot to each of the people on my list with an engaging email containing the problems that people within their industry have, how we solve it, and then I finish it off with a low commitment call to action, which in our case is our digital growth scorecard, which is free, takes 2 minutes, and they don't have to do anything from there. There's no obligation, but there is a transaction there,
But you're
but
giving
it's very
value,
low commitment.
you're giving value though, Paul, aren't you? Because you're giving someone a chance to look at the digital scorecard, and irrespective of whether they choose to work with the growth guys, they've got a bit of information that they didn't have beforehand, which has come from you, which is free of charge, which is of value. And I think that,
and there's a full on PDF at the end that they get. You know, once you complete the scorecard, once you've gone through the 20 or so questions, you'll then get a PDF report giving you tips and value of how to, you know, essentially use the principles that we use, which are from the heart, HEART, high performing assets, engagement, attribution, revenue, and tech, and how they you know can be used to help grow your business. That's
well, we'll put the link to your scorecard on the notes from the recording, and we'll also put them in the Yorkshire Sales Sprint group on LinkedIn. More on that later. So thank you for that. Last question. Are there any tactics that work well in digital marketing to get business over the line? You know, what is it to, because we've talked so far about engaging and reaching out and building relationships and sharing content and drawing them into a sort of a funnel, if you like. Is there anything that you can use digitally to get them over the line?
Yeah, so depending on whether you're B2B or B2C, there are various tactics that work well in getting the deal over the line. You know, with B2C, social proof in the way of reviews, testimonials are absolutely integral now. You know, we have a partnership with Trustpilot, and you know we use that to get our clients signed up to them, so that we can increase their conversion rate, essentially, if they're not already signed up to like reviews.io or anything like that. Second thing is multiple payment options are necessary. So if you can accept like credit card, debit card, PayPal, Google Pay, Apple Pay, I don't know, even if you're forward thinking, accepting Bitcoin right now, you know, they're all things that you can do to get the sale over the line, because that's the last barrier. If you can't get them to pay, you're not going to have it. So, and then for B2B, depending on how you propose or contract for work, video is really powerful. It's an extremely powerful tool now, especially within the proposal process. So we use a piece of software called Proposify, which enables us to integrate personalized videos. And this software also allows all proposals to be tracked using blockchain technology. And it sends notifications to me when the prospect has opened it and read it. They can also tell me, it also tells me how long they've read it for, which sections they're reading, which sections they spent the most time on. Wow. And then that allows me to pretty much objection handle before they even come to me with objections.
So that's called Proposify, is it?
Proposify, yeah.
Again, we'll put some notes. We'll put some notes in the LinkedIn group and also on the video notes as well. So Paul, that's been really insightful. I think we've got some questions, Russell, have we?
Any questions as such as people asking, just merely mentioning around the books that Paul's mentioned. Obviously, Marcus Sheridan that's come through there. Again, people just saying, yeah, love the answer to the public. And can you please explain how to attach website to Google Console? That's from Kay. If that's an easy question to answer.
Yeah, I mean, it's really simple. I mean, obviously, I don't want to sound condescending with that one, but literally, you just Google attach my website to Google Console, and they'll literally. They can explain it much better than I can in their video tutorials.
Hang on. Didn't we have you as an expert on here, Paul?
It's one of those things. One of those things that, you know, it's just the YouTube video tutorials are just way more like, you know, you can follow it step by step rather than following my wishy-washy instructions right now.
No problem.
Let's ask one quick question for myself. Are we all right for a second? Just Paul, video, email, contacts. Obviously doing a lot of work with Vidyard. What are your views around that in the UK?
Video, email?
Yeah, in terms of when you're reaching out to a new contact.
Yeah, so I mean, I tried this with LinkedIn for a little bit, you know, sending videos in LinkedIn messages when connecting with people. And it was 50-50.
Right.
People received it quite well. People didn't reply. It could have been the content of what I was saying, but videos within email can work really well, especially if it's like to your already existing user base. So if you've got multiple people on your user base and you just want to quickly give them an update, just a link to a YouTube video as well can work really well. But if you can integrate video into proposals or contracts, that just becomes extremely powerful.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Paul.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Paul. I'm just going to share your contact details on here. So basically, Paul is the co-founder and director of the Growth Guys. And basically, he is, bear with me, I thought we had them there. He's based in York. All his contact details there, website, LinkedIn, etc. We'll also put some details in the notes and the video notes. So thank you for that, Paul. Thank you for your contributions this morning. Appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Let's see if we can stop the share and stop the recording. Bear with me. Anyway, never mind. Stop the share. Stop the recording.